Hey everyone, it's Carissa Wiley here for ellenhudson.com. Thanks for joining me today. Today I'm sharing a fresh idea featuring the Totally Random Sayings Volume 3 stamp set, as well as the Breve Note stamp and die set. I'm going to make this adorable thank you card that you can use year round. And I had a lot of fun making this because it's a card that's very easy to mass produce. And if you need to make a ton of thank you notes, I got you, girl. So I'm starting out with cutting down some neenah Solar White cardstock, and I'm cutting it to about 1 3/4 inches wide by 3.5 inches long. And I cut several of these strips because I'm gonna make a ton of cards. I actually didn't make a ton of cards today. I just made a ton of these little focal points, and I can use them as I need them. And I'm starting out with that big thanks from the Totally Random Sayings Volume 3 stamp set. And I'm combining it with a bunch of smaller sentiments from the Small Sayings stamp set. And these combine so beautifully, and I'm just gonna stack them up going down this strip of cardstock here. Now, once I get these all lined up on this cardstock, I'm gonna go ahead and close the door of my mini Misty here, and I'm just gonna peek at this and make sure that they're all kind of straight across there. I can use the grid lines that are engraved onto my Misty lid there to make sure that all of my sentiments are straight. And once I know that they're straight, I can make adjustments if I need to, but I did a pretty good job, if I'm gonna say so myself. And I went straight to inking, and I am using the Versifying Clair Nocturne Black Pigment ink, and I'm stamping these onto that neenah Solar White cardstock. Now, for mass production, in this case, the Misty was key, but keep in mind that you can also stack up these sentiments on an acrylic block as well. And if you're going to use an acrylic block, I definitely recommend one that has some grid lines on it as well. So once I've stamped one, I can go ahead and take it out, replace it with a clean piece of cardstock that's cut to the same size. I'm pushing it right into that lower right-hand corner. And then I'm re-inking my stamps and stamping again. And because I'm a girl who gets a little bit carried away, I made so many of these, but they're gonna make for great cards that I can throw together on the fly as I need them. Now, I did want to mention that I will leave all of these stamps on the lid of the Misty until I'm done creating, and then when I know that I have enough, I can clean them and then remove them and put them back on their backer sheet. So you can see how beautiful that Versifying Nocturne Black Pigment ink stamps onto this neenah Solar White cardstock. It is so crisp, but because it is a pigment ink, I want to make sure that it has plenty of time to dry before I go into my next steps. And speaking of next steps, I have the Hot Tub ink from Catherine Pooler, and I have this abstract paint strokes from the Essentials by Ellen line, and I am just stamping that right over that focal sentiment at the top. And then I'm going to take these two cups here. These are from the Breve Note stamp set, and I am going to ink them up in Gina K Amalgam Jet Black ink and stamp them onto some neenah Solar White cardstock. And I'm going to do some quick coloring using my Catherine Pooler inks. I'm just pressing it lightly onto an acrylic block, and I'm going to use a water brush to pick up some of that color and add color to these images. Now, because this is neenah Solar White cardstock and not watercolor cardstock, I want to make sure that I don't put too much water onto the cardstock because it won't absorb or it will peel up if I add too much water, but I'm just adding very little water and a little bit of color here. And this is a great quick way to add coloring to your images. And they were inks that I already had out for stamping anyway. So I'm just making this really quick and easy here. I'm also using the Over Coffee ink from Catherine Pooler, and I'm going to use that for my coffee, of course. Now, the other thing I want to mention as I'm putting color on here and then aligning my dies is that you want to be sure that when you stamp these images, if you're going to be using water to apply your color, you want to use a waterproof ink. So that Gina K Amalgam ink is great because it is waterproof, and you can use it with your Copic markers, with watercolors, with colored pencil and Gamsol. So it's one of those great, really versatile black inks. Now I've gone ahead and die cut my little coffee cups here using the coordinating dies that are sold separately. And I'm adding a little bit of foam adhesive onto the back of those and attaching them to this stamped greeting strip that I've created. And I'm just kind of putting them off to the side. And then I am going to add foam adhesive all over the back of this entire thing. Now to prep my card base, I have a piece of neenah Solar White heavyweight cardstock. It's cut to 4¼ by 11 inches, and I'm scoring it at 5½ inches to create my card base. And I'm just gonna fold that over and reinforce my score line or my fold with my Teflon bone folder. Then I'm gonna place it back into my scoreboard here, and I'm gonna create 3 lines. Now I'm scoring from the inside of the card, and I'm using my stylus to do this. You could use your bone folder as well, but I'm just going to create 3 score lines, and I wasn't precise about this at all. I kind of tried to space them out evenly, but I didn't. I failed. And I don't care, because this is just going to add a little bit of extra interest and texture on the front of a very clean and simple card. But this is a great technique that I think we often forget about, but is so impactful on the finished card. So you can see those 3 scored lines there. It's just going to add a little bit of texture without bringing any more kind of colors or anything like that in. And I apologize that it's hard to see in the photos, but in real life, it really does make a beautiful impact. So now I'm taking this A Million stamp. This is also from the Totally Random Sayings Volume 3 stamp set. I'm stamping it onto some neenah Solar White cardstock, and I am just trimming it out with my scissors. Hey, people, how come when did we get like so perfectionist that we can't even like trim out a tiny little sentiment with our scissors? I mean, let's just do it, okay? That was the headspace that I was in today. Let's not overcomplicate things. These little sentiments can easily be trimmed out using some scissors, and that's what I did today. And now I'm adding a little bit of natural twine to the top of my card base here, just to add a little bit more of that brown color that I've used in the coffee. Then I'm going to remove the foam adhesive that's on the back of my focal kind of grouping here and place it onto my card base. And I'll press that down once I get it all straight there. And this final little heart here that I've cut from some blush colored cardstock, I'm going to tuck that behind that A Million kind of extra sentiment strip that I added there. Now to complete the card, because you know me and I cannot have a card, I cannot stand to have a card that I created without a little bit of shimmer. So I'm taking my Tonic Aqua Shimmer Pen and I'm coloring over those hearts. And then I am adding a layer of glossy accents over the heart as well to give them some extra shine. And that completes my card for today. So I hope you enjoyed this fresh idea featuring the Totally Random Sayings Volume 3 stamp set, as well as the Breve Note stamp and die set, and some other Essentials by Ellen products thrown in there as well. As always, I will have links to the featured products used in this project in the description at YouTube. So if you're looking for something in particular, be sure to check there. Or you can head on over to the ellenhudson.com blog. Over there, I'll have more still shots, more information, and a complete list of supplies. As always, thanks for joining me today. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to the ellenhudson.com YouTube channel. Here you'll find lots of inspiration for paper crafting and card making and stamping and die cutting. The sky is the limit. Thanks again for stopping by and hanging out with me today. I'm so glad you're here, and until next time, I hope you have a fabulous day. Hey, thanks for sticking around to the very end. You know, if you've made it this far, you are one of my favorites. If you want to subscribe to the ellenhudson.com YouTube channel, be sure to click that button there on the left side of the screen. And here's a couple more video tutorials I thought you might enjoy.